Hi, it's Miss Darcy here at the Lebanon Public Library for another story time. Today I chose a book that is not only one of my favorite books, but it's by one of my favorite authors, Jan Brett. Jan Brett is one of my favorite authors. We have a whole collection of her books here at the library. One of my favorite things is that she illustrates her books, and if you look on the pages, you can often guess what's going to happen on the next page. I love that about Jan Brett books. All right, Gingerbread Baby by Jan Brett. Gingerbread Baby. It was cold outside. It was warm inside. A fine day for gingerbread, Maddie thought. Maddie's mother put the big blue bowl on the table and lit the stove. Maddie took down the worn-looking cookbook with the old-fashioned writing on the cover, and he opened it up to the page that said, Gingerbread Boy. They measured and mixed. Maddie rolled the dough into the shape of a gingerbread boy and popped him in the oven. Bake a full 8 minutes. No more, no less. Do not peek, the recipe said. Maddie listened to the clock. Tick, tock, tick. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3, 4, 5. Maddie couldn't wait any longer, and he opened the oven door to take a peek, and instead of a gingerbread boy, out jumped Gingerbread Baby. He pranced around the big blue bowl. I'm the Gingerbread Baby, fresh from the pan. If you want me, catch me if you can. Maddie's mother reached for the gingerbread baby to put him back in the oven, but he ran around the kitchen. The door opened and came in, and Maddie's father came in. What's that delicious smell? He asked, as the gingerbread baby tumbled through his legs and outside into the yard. So see, this is what I was talking about. Now you can guess what's going to happen on the next page by looking at the sides of the illustrations. I love that. He ran by the tabby cat. She twitched her tail and sprang at him. They rumbled and tumbled, but the gingerbread baby came out on top. He ran toward the garden wall. The dog caught a whiff of tasty ginger and sniffed along behind him. But Gingerbread Baby was halfway up when the dog caught him. He barked and barked as the gingerbread baby climbed over the wall. Maddie was still inside. He heard his mother and father yelling. He heard a cat meowing and a dog barking. And he heard the gingerbread baby shouting, "Catch me if you can!" Maddie opened up the worn-looking cookbook for a second time. Meanwhile, the gingerbread baby wheeled on down the path and into the barn. The goats looked up as he somersaulted across their backs. The last one tried to catch him, but the gingerbread baby was too fast. Martha and Madeline were standing by the well when the gingerbread baby stopped to take a drink. They looked at each other and winked. Martha started to talk to him while Madeline tipped up behind him with a bucket. But they couldn't fool that gingerbread baby. No. He took a braid from Martha and a braid from Madeline, and he tied them in a knot, and he ran down the road. But back at the house, Maddie stirred, mixed, and rolled the dough. He shaped it, put it in a pan and into the oven. Tick, tock, tick. 8 long minutes. This time he didn't peek. I will catch him if I can, Maddie said to himself. As he was bouncing along, the gingerbread baby saw a farm wagon just ahead. He jumped in and settled down for the ride next to a mama pig. The smell of gingerbread was too much for her. She tossed him high in the air, closed her eyes, opened her mouth, but the gingerbread baby twisted in the air and came down hard on her porky snout. I'm the gingerbread baby, too quick for mother and father, too fast for the cat, the dog, the goats, too clever for Martha and Madeline, too smart for the mama pig. Who's left? Catch me if you can. Feeling smug, the gingerbread baby strolled along by himself until he came to a bridge that crossed over to the village. Just as he got to the middle, he heard running feet behind him and saw a crowd. Wow, the crowd was ahead of him. He saw a crowd of villagers. Oh no, the gingerbread baby was trapped. He jumped up onto the railing, backflipped through the air, and landed on a chunk of ice floating down the river. The ice bobbed along with the gingerbread baby dancing on top and singing in a loud voice. Look at me, what do you see? The best gingerbread baby ever! Until his feet got cold and he jumped ashore. Oh, who was that watching from the trees? It was the fox. He crept up behind gingerbread baby, ready to eat him up, but the fox couldn't help himself and he licked his chops. Smack, smack. The gingerbread baby heard him and ran as fast as he could. Just when the fox was catching up, the gingerbread baby saw the milk and cheese man with his can of milk. The perfect hiding place, he thought, and he lifted the lid and lowered himself inside. He was so pleased that he sang at the top of his gingerbread baby voice. Ha ha hee hee, you'll never find me. I'm the gingerbread baby. Catch me if you can. The milk and cheese man heard the gingerbread baby's voice. Who is meddling with my milk? He shouted and lifted the lid, but the gingerbread baby was ready. He jumped up and tweaked his nose. Oh, gingerbread baby. Now, the milk and cheese man, the fox, the villagers, the mama pig, Martha and Madeline, the bleeding goats, the barking dog, the meowing cat, the father and the mother were all after the gingerbread baby and getting closer. And he knew it. The brash baby was not as peppy and proud as he had been. He sniffed a familiar smell and followed his nose into the woods. What's that smell? He couldn't believe what he saw. There in the middle of a clearing was a gingerbread house, frosted with sugar, covered with candy, and the doors with peppermint handles were wide open. The gingerbread baby clapped his hands with glee and ran inside. In a tick-tock-tick, everyone arrived in the clearing, but all they found were a few bits of frosting, a peppermint candy, and some crumbs. The father exclaimed, "The gingerbread baby has finally met his match." "I wonder who it was," said the mother. "Let's go home and tell Maddie." Who made the gingerbread house that captured the gingerbread baby? Do you guys know? I bet you do. "Hello, Maddie," said his father when they got home. "We never did catch that gingerbread baby. All we found were some crumbs in the snow." "I see you have been busy," his mother said, looking at the gingerbread house Maddie was holding. You guys were right. It was Maddie. "Too bad we never caught that gingerbread baby." "Too bad," said Maddie. Oh, you guys are so smart. You figured that out. Only Maddie could hear the tiny voice from inside the gingerbread house. "Oh, I'm the little gingerbread baby, lucky as can be, to be living in the house that Maddie made for me. Oh, look at that happy gingerbread baby in the house that Maddie made for me." Jan Brett. one of my favorite authors. And if you listen to this story time, you can count it on your 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten. And if you need more information about the 1,000 Books program, please contact us here at the library at 541-258-4926. Bye, guys.